You think your week is modern. It's not. The way you count days, your weekends, even the idea of a rest day, all of it comes from ancient Mesopotamia. Thousands of years ago, the Babylonians built a system of time that still controls your life today. You're not following a modern schedule, you're living on a Babylonian one.
We all know the feeling. The alarm goes off on Monday morning, and the long countdown to the weekend begins. That exhausted 5-day slog, followed by a 2-day break, is actually a 4,000-year-old Babylonian operating system. In nature, time is dictated by physics. A day is exactly one rotation of the Earth. A year is exactly one orbit around the Sun. Even the month is roughly tethered to a physical reality, mirroring the 29.5-day cycle of the Moon. But as this diagram shows, the 7-day block doesn't track with the actual orbital cycles that define our seasons or our months. It maps to no measurable astronomical rhythm. To find out who invented this unaligned block of time, we have to travel back 4 millennia to the city-states of ancient Mesopotamia. The week-week schedule governing your life right now is a fabricated piece of ancient human technology. We simply never stopped using it. Look closely at this Sumerian cuneiform tablet detailing astronomical records. The ancient Mesopotamians were focused on organizing the chaotic cosmos into predictable mathematical blocks. This abstract map of the night sky isolates the specific bodies those astronomers were tracking. They identified 7 wandering celestial objects visible to the naked eye: the sun, the moon, and 5 planets. They took a roughly 28-day lunar month and divided it by those 7 celestial bodies, creating 4 equal, repeating chunks of time. They anchored this system with a concept called Shapatu, a specific celestial milestone that marked the 15th day of the month, coinciding exactly with the full moon. In their culture, the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th days of the month were considered taboo. People actively avoided normal labor on these days out of a fear of misfortune. By attempting to force planetary mathematics onto lunar cycles, the Babylonians inadvertently engineered the world's first scheduled days of rest. When exiled Jewish populations arrived in Babylon, they lived alongside this lunar-based rest cycle and adopted the word Shabbatu. But the Babylonian system had a critical flaw. Because a true lunar cycle is 29.5 days, their math was messy. It required constant adjustments to keep the weeks aligned with the moon. This diagram shows a divergence in how the week functioned. The Jewish culture physically severed that 7-day segment from the lunar orbit. As the circle detaches, it creates an unbroken loop, 7 days repeating forever, regardless of what the moon or the sun is actually doing. They also transformed the Babylonian unlucky day into the Sabbath, a sacred mandate to cease work. By decoupling time from the cosmos, they engineered a purely artificial, mathematical rhythm. This animation shows a completely different schedule, the nundinal. It was an 8-day market cycle used by the expanding Roman Empire. As Rome conquered the Near East, their 8-day market schedule collided with both the Jewish 7-day loop and a Hellenistic version of the 7-day planetary week. Running a vast empire, managing trade routes, and organizing military campaigns on 3 conflicting timekeeping systems created a massive logistical nightmare. To eliminate this friction, Emperor Constantine issued a decree in 321 AD, officially standardizing the 7-day week across the entire empire. Constantine cemented the Day of the Sun, Sunday, as a mandatory legal holiday, fusing planetary astrology directly with civic law. Rome did not invent the week, but they formalized it into an inescapable legal framework, locking the Western world into a single synchronized rhythm. This photograph from 19th century Britain shows the reality of the Industrial Revolution. The ancient 6-day work week was now colliding with the grueling demands of factory labor. Workers had exactly 1 day off, Sunday. They partied heavily on their only day off, resulting in massive absenteeism the next morning, a phenomenon they called Saint Monday. In this image, we see a massive crowd of workers leaving a factory. Owners like these struck a pragmatic compromise. They offered a voluntary half-day off on Saturday afternoon to ensure workers showed up sober on Monday. Here we see the result of that compromise, a crowded public beach. Combining Saturday afternoon with Sunday birthed a modern weekend, a dedicated block of consecutive leisure time for the masses. The weekend didn't emerge as an ancient tradition, but as an industrial trade-off, a 19th century concession made to keep factory workers productive on Monday morning. The 7-day week is highly visible, but it isn't the only ancient ghost haunting our schedules. Consider for a moment why we systematically divide our minutes into exactly 60 seconds and our hours into 60 minutes. Looking back at this cuneiform tablet, we see the deeply etched markings of a base 60 mathematical system. Our clocks are a direct holdover from this exact Mesopotamian arithmetic. Our daily rhythm relies on a Babylonian foundation, updated by Jewish theology, standardized by Roman law, and tweaked by British industrialists. Empires rise and fall, languages die, and stone monuments crumble. But the most resilient architecture humanity ever built is the invisible calendar we are all trapped inside today.
History is never just black and white. So where do you stand? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe for more. New videos every week.